Hi everyone, welcome to Enjoy English. I'm Steven.
大家好，我是 Bernice.
Today's date is March 24th. We're on day 2 looking at pages 46 to 49 under Culture. And the title once again is The Striking Blue Eyes of the Budongese.
我们知道我们刚才在 Day 1的时候，我们学到布顿人呢，他们有很丰富的一些文化上面的遗产啦，还有包含呢，到底因为我们这个标题就是讲说他的眼睛是蓝色，我们在 Day 1的时候只知道说他们是从事商业方面的，还有水手这样的一个行业，也种植了很多的作物，但是到底眼睛是蓝色这件事情到现在还没提到哦。
Right, so maybe that's why the subtitle is The Mystery of Their Eyes.
对，到底他们蓝眼之谜是什么呢？
Let's find out.
好的。
The striking blue eyes of the Bhutanese. While Bhutanese culture and architecture are remarkable, they are not what these people are most famous for. Some members of this group are known for their striking blue eyes. This eye color is extremely rare among Indonesia's ethnic groups, as most people are born with dark brown eyes. Some researchers believe that the Bhutanese's blue eyes may have come from their ancestors who had contact with Portuguese explorers. These Europeans arrived on Bhutan Island in the 16th century, and some settlers likely married locals. This resulted in a mix of European and local genetic characteristics. However, more recent studies suggest that the blue eyes might be caused by a rare genetic condition called Waardenburg syndrome. This disorder affects the pigmentation of the eyes, hair, and skin. In some cases, it can even cause one blue eye and one brown eye. The syndrome can also lead to hearing loss. This genetic variation, passed down through generations, explains why some Bhutanese have bright blue eyes. Although Waardenburg syndrome has no cure, its symptoms can be managed through various treatments. Luckily, it usually doesn't pose a serious threat to a person's overall health.
While Budongese culture and architecture are remarkable, they are not what these people are most famous for.
因为我们在 Day 1就是讲到了这些布顿人，虽然这个布顿人确实在文化上面也好，或者在建筑上面也好，都表现得 remarkable， 非常的 impressive。Outstanding 都可以用来形容，就是表示非常的引人入胜，非常的出色的意思。可是实际上呢，他们并不是 what these people， 所以对于那个 what 就是 the things which， 其实呢，这个 they 就是指刚才前面讲的这些，不管是所谓的文化还有遗传的这些建筑上面这些布顿人这个事情，他们其实呢，并不是因为刚才我们讲的这些文化跟建筑来最为受到别人知道，就是不是他们最著名的特色啦。
So since we have that last sentence, they are not what these people are most famous for, then we have to assume the next sentence will tell us.
对，下一句就会讲。
Yeah, and the reason why I say that is a lot of people when they're writing, sometimes they're thinking too fast and writing too slow. And then they say something like this, and then they don't explain it in the next sentence. So then people get lost.
没错。
Right? And so that's something to pay attention to. Good writing is you kind of set up for the next sentence, and then you give a good punchline or a good reason why you had that set
对，
up.
所以要当一个负责任的作者不要写完了前面后面都没有写出来。
All right, so let's find out what they're famous for.
Okay.
Some members of this group are known for their striking blue eyes.
终于到我们今天要讲的重点，蓝眼睛要来了。好的，所以他接下来就说了，这个族群里面有一部分的这些成员呢，其实他们就是 be known for， 就是因为什么事情而出名的呢？就是他们这个 striking， 我们上次刚刚讲过 striking 就是眼睛一下就看到了，所以表示很醒目的这样的蓝眼睛。
Yeah, so striking, strike, S-T-R-I-K-E as a verb can also mean to like hit someone.
对，打人
Or like
打击别人
lightning struck
对
the ground.
侵袭什么地方也可以。
我刚刚是过去式 S-T-R-U-C-K. So here, striking as an adjective, it means that it attracts attention by being unusual or extreme or very different. Okay, so striking is oftentimes a very positive adjective to say something is like, wow, like you can't help but to pay attention to it or notice it.
对，就很吸睛就对了。
This eye color is extremely rare among Indonesia's ethnic groups, as most people are born with dark brown eyes.
所以我们刚才讲了，他们之所以会有这个蓝眼睛呢，其实这个蓝色的眼睛呢，在他们这个印尼的族群里面是极为极为罕见的，所以他用到一个字 extremely， 我们 Stephen 老师最爱的副词就来了，极度的 rare， 有没有形容那个 rare 这个形容词啦？所以是极为极为的罕见的。记得 among 这个字是指说在3者以上的之间，好。那么呢 as 这个 as 是 because 的意思，好，那记得当你用 as 在句中的时候，你就前面要加个逗点，可能用 because 的话就不用加逗点了哈，因为大部分的人呢，其实他们出生的 be born with， 就是他们 naturally， 他们自然来说呢，应该是这个深褐色的眼睛，所以确实蓝眼睛是极为极为罕见的。
Yeah, and I want to call attention to the word rare. Okay, some people have a little bit of trouble pronouncing that. They don't get the air sound out. So the best thing to do is first practice the pronunciation air, like 空气.
对
And then just add in front of it. Rare. Okay? And then the second thing I want to call attention to, when I said dark brown eyes, the reason why I emphasized brown and made it go upwards is because we've been talking about blue eyes. So 而不是蓝眼睛. So I kind of have 那个意思，我就会 brown eyes, dark brown eyes.
没错
Okay? Let's take a short break.
好的。
Some researchers believe that the Bhutanese' blue eyes may have come from their ancestors who had contact with Portuguese explorers.
所以第二段就开始稍微提到一些东西了，就到底这个蓝眼睛既然这么样的罕见，那到底是怎么会有蓝色眼睛的一些人出现在他们的这个族群里面呢？他就说了，有一部分的研究者就这么认为说呢，其实啊，这个布顿人呢，他们之所以有这个蓝眼睛啊 ，may have 后面加上 pp， 我们知道这个 may have 后面加 pp 表示是对过去事情的一个推测，就是很有可能是这个样子哦。好，所以就是说他们觉得很有可能是因为跟他们的祖先有关的。那他们的祖先又怎么会因为祖先然后遗传下来这样的一个蓝色的眼睛呢？因为他们的祖先的 who 就是指这一群祖先们呢，曾经呢 had contact with， 就是与什么人呢有所接触。就是当时呢，葡萄牙人的所谓的探险家，因为跟他们有接触到，然后可能有通婚啦，有生小孩啦，所以造成他们的眼睛变成像今天我们看到这个蓝色眼睛。
So have contact with someone, 就是说 you have a chance to interact with them or talk to them or touch them, okay? So have contact with. In Portuguese, people are the people from Portugal. Okay? The country is Portugal.
Yes.
But then when you do like the adjective form, you take off the AL and add UESE. Okay? So it's a little bit different spelling, but it's something to pay attention to. And who are people who explore? They are explorers, okay? And they are people that go places that maybe no one has ever been to before.
所谓探险家就是你要去找一些没有人家很少去或甚至没有去过的地方。
These Europeans arrived on Budong Island in the 16th century And some settlers likely married locals.
对嘛？所以我刚刚讲，应该是会有通婚的这样的一个状况。所以那个时候呢，这些欧洲人呢就到达，记得 arrive 这个字你一定要加介系词哦，哈，你不可以直接单独用 arrive。所以呢，当时这些欧洲人他们到达了这个布顿岛，然后呢，在16世纪他们就到达这个地方了。然后呢，其中某一些人就可能觉得，哎，布顿岛这边的环境他觉得很喜欢或怎么样，所以他们就定居下来了。所以有部分的定居者呢 ，likely 我们这边当副词，就是很有可能的 probably 他们很有可能就 married 就跟当地的人就结婚啦，然后就有小朋友啦，那所以那个眼睛就开始出现不一样的颜色了。
Yeah, I want to call attention to that word settlers. Okay, the verb that's related to it is settle. Okay, and in Taiwan, usually I hear, 哦，你 settle 一下你头发。
settle
Settle,
啊，
okay.
不一样哦。
And settle, it just means to kind of place yourself down somewhere and like kind of chill or take it
对，就是你
easy.
就在那边定居，安
Yeah,
顿下来啦。
安顿下来. So it doesn't mean you like necessarily like stay there to live there. You can just maybe sit there and just relax and just enjoy yourself, right? But so that's why we have a saying, it's settle down. Okay, I'm gonna settle down here. 我想在这里安顿一下。
安顿下来，对。
But settle down can also be a command to tell people to be quiet.
哦，对，
Settle down.
比如说小朋友一群乱七八糟吵来吵去，老师就可以说这个句子了。
Yes. So a settler in this situation is a person who lives in a new country or in a new area. Okay, so that is what a settler is. So these people that just came to the Pudong Islands, these Europeans, they likely married these local people or locals for short. This resulted in a mix of European and local genetic characteristics.
对啊，所以他们呢，这些所谓的刚才讲的葡萄牙这个探险家，他们到了这个布顿岛定居下来，然后又跟他们当地人结婚之后呢的这件事，所以这个 this 就指上面这一件事情 result in 我们知道就是造成了一种 mix 就是一个混合融合的意思嘛，就是把这个所谓的欧洲跟他们当地的一些基因的 characteristics 这个字我们知道就是一些特征，当然你可以用 trait 这个字 T-R-A-I-T， 那所以呢 characteristics 就是通常是一些 traits， 而且这些 traits 可能是 you are born with， 就是你可能出生就会有的一些特征，所以因为他们通婚嘛，所以就造成这样的欧洲跟本地基因特征出现了一个融合。
Yes, so I want to call attention to 3 words. 1, local in this sentence is being used as an adjective, whereas the sentence before it was being used as a noun
名词
and the plural form of
Yeah.
that noun, which is why it has that S. Genetic is anything that has to do with genes, okay? So G-E-N-E is 基因的本身。
发音又有点不太一样
Yeah,
了。
the noun, but this is the adjective, genetic. And then Bernice also mentioned a word that I really like, trait, genetic trait. How is that different from characteristic? They're very, very similar, very
Right.
related. I would argue that genetic traits are like the actual part of the gene that gives you the characteristics that look different. Okay, so traits are usually more genetic based. Characteristics are the traits that cause you to have those features that are different. Okay, so same, different. So,
Right.
yeah, it's one of those things that if you say genetic characteristic or genetic trait, no one's going to be like, do you mean
对
genetic
啊，
level?
大家
or-"
都懂是什么意思
Yeah,
啦。对，
yes. Okay, let's take a short break.
好的。
However, more recent studies suggest that the blue eyes might be caused by a rare genetic condition called Waardenburg syndrome.
到了这一段呢，出现了一个反转的一个转折的地方了。然而呢，有一个比较新的研究就指出了，刚才我们会觉得说，哇，一个人有蓝色的眼睛，对不对？我们刚刚讲 striking， 很吸睛啊，我们会觉得哦，可能很漂亮，或是怎么样。哎，可是有一个比较新一点的这样的一个研究就 suggest， 我们知道这个 suggest 就是 indicate 或 point out。他就指出说呢，其实他们这个蓝眼睛这样的一个状况啊 ，might be caused 是怎么样被造成的呢？可能是一种非常又来一个这个字了，很罕见的一种这个 genetic 基因上面的一个状况。这个 condition 我们可以说就是一种类似像 health problem， 可能是一个在健康上面出现了一个什么样的状况。他把这个状况呢给他了一个名词，叫做瓦登伯格氏症候群。
So a syndrome is a group of symptoms which usually occur together.
没错。
Okay. And then here we use that verb suggest when it comes to studies because a study is not always going to be 100% correct.
没错啦。
Right? So then it's not saying that it's showing for sure. It's just saying that this is what they think based off of that study. Okay. So it's good to use that verb when it comes to talking about a study. This disorder affects the pigmentation of the eyes, hair, and skin.
所以呢，他们把它称之为这是一种 disorder。我们知道 disorder 就是一种失调症，所谓失调就是跟别人比较不太一样的地方了。所以他们觉得这样的一种，我们就可以直接把它说它是一种疾病了哈。这样的疾病呢，它其实会影响什么东西呢？我们生物上面天然的这个颜色。我们知道这个 pigment 这个字根呢，其实就是指 color， 就是指颜色的意思啦哈。所以这个字呢，原本就是指我们生物呢，原本天然的这个颜色。那你影响的颜色包含呢，第一个我们看嘛，你的外在，第一个就是你的眼睛的颜色啦，头发的颜色，还有你的皮肤的颜色。
And disorder, if you find that word a little difficult to remember, just think about the word order. Order means 顺序, right? So disorder means 没有顺序. So then a disorder is an illness or condition that disrupts the normal body functions. 你的身体平常的那个按照顺序的方式去活着，被你弄乱了，因为是有疾病 disorder. That might be a good way to remember that word.
没错。
Okay? In some cases, it can even cause one blue eye and one brown eye.
还有很特殊的这个情形就出现啦，所以他就说，在某些情况底下呢，甚至 it 就是指刚才前面讲的这个瓦登伯格氏这个症候群呢，有可能甚至会造成你的眼睛一只是蓝色，另外一只是棕色。
The syndrome can also lead to hearing loss.
接下来这个就不太 OK 了。他说接下来呢，这样的一个症状啊，也同时可能会 lead to 一样 lead to 就是 cause hearing loss 就是指你的听力可能会损失哦。
All right, let's take a short break.
好的。
This genetic variation, passed down through generations, explains why some Bhutanese have bright blue eyes.
所以我们从上面刚才呢所读到的这些段落，我们可以知道呢，这样子的东西我们称之为一种遗传的，就是基因上面的一个变异啦 ，variation 就是它产生的变化了。那它这个基因上面这个变异呢，其实是怎么样呢？它是passed down through generations， 也就是 pass from one generation to the next， 一个世代一个世代这样子透过世代的遗传，那就是因为它透过这个世代的遗传，所以每一代一代去传的时候，你的中间的基因可能就产生了一些变异，所以这件事情也解释说明了一件事，就是为什么呢？这些布顿人他们的眼睛呢会有亮亮的蓝色。
So variation, let's talk about the verb that's related to that. It's vary.
Yeah.
Okay? Oh, it sounds like V-E-R-Y, 很的意思, right? But it's actually V-A-R-Y, pronounced exactly the same. Okay? So V-A-R-Y, this verb vary, it means it changes from time to time.
没错。
Okay? And depending on the conditions, 它会有一些变化。
对。
So vary, changed to a noun form, becomes variation. Okay, so that's a good way to remember that, but know that it does sound like 很多的很, okay?
对。
All right. Although Waardenburg syndrome has no cure, its symptoms can be managed through various treatments.
接下来他就讲了，这个尽管是这个样子啊，虽然我们刚才讲的这个瓦登伯格氏的这个症候群，它是没有 cure 我们知道就是治疗的方式，也就是说，它这个 disorder， 它这样的一个疾病是没有一个药物是可以去控制说你要怎么样去治疗它。可是呢，其实它的症状呢，还是我们可以加以去 manage， 加以管理控制的。那透过什么样的方式呢 ？Various 就是各式各样 ，all kinds of， 你还是可以透过各式各样的 treatment 就是一些治疗的方法，就是你还可以利用别的一些治疗方式来控制它。
Yeah, I mean, this word various, it does look a lot like that word variation, right? It's a very closely related word because it also means 许多不同的。
对。
Okay, and it is also related to the verb I was saying earlier, very, V-A-R-Y. They all start with V-A-R. Okay, so a lot of times in English, we do see words that we're like, what does that mean? How can I know what that means? But a lot of them actually have like the common prefix.
对啊
Okay, like VAR in this situation, sometimes it might mean something that changes from time to time.
没有错，就跟我们中文有部首是一样的啊。
Yeah, yeah.
你的水字边、木字边，你就知道哦，这都是跟水或木头相关的。
Yes, and a treatment is a way of healing something or alleviating a condition. Okay. Luckily, it usually doesn't pose a serious threat to a person's overall health.
就是说这个症候群呢，虽然它算是一种疾病啦，可是很幸运的是呢，它通常并不会 pose a threat to， 就是对什么造成威胁，也就是它并不会造成什么严重的威胁，尤其是对于一个人的 overall， 我们知道是整体的哈，就是它整个的一个健康，其实它并不会造成什么严重的威胁的。
Yes, so pose a threat. Here we're just adding an adjective, okay? Pose a serious threat. And that just means creating a risk of danger or harm to someone. But I know that verb pose might be a little bit kind of different for people to kind of think
对
about.
啦，很少同学会懂得用 pose 这个字。
Yeah, because usually when we think pose, we think like by pose, right? But in this situation, it has nothing to do with by pose.
对，不是。
Okay, so pose a threat, cause a serious threat to someone, or create a risk of threat or danger to someone. And overall, this word we do use a lot. It just means as a whole,
Yes.
okay, to a person's health as a whole.
Yes.
All right. So hopefully you guys learned a lot about the Bhutanese. I would love to see that in person, like a person with
对啊，
striking
有
blue
蓝
eyes.
色眼睛的人
Yeah,
确
maybe
实很特别。
next time if we travel to Indonesia. All right. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.